the spring and summer. So the first one is going to be March 10th, and it will be in Stone County, Mississippi, with Deep South Homestead. And it sounds like there's going to be some classes, not anything really in depth, but they will be allowing people to come and set up booths and sell some things. Let's see, where did we end up getting our hotel? Our hotel is in
Gulfport.
Gulfport. So it looks like a lot of the hotels that are a little bit less expensive. I think we got an Airbnb and it was $40 a night for 4 people. And so we're excited to do that. We will be driving down for 2 days. We'll drive down all the way one day, and then we'll have the conference on the 10th, and then we'll drive all the way back the next day because John has school to get back to. So Bandana Grandma made it. Tania Itel made it from Illinois. Duncan made it.
Mapleberry
Mr.
Farm,
Dirt made
time.
it. How
Yeah,
exciting.
Hey, I am here.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so that's what's happening. So any of you who are Southern who would like to come to this and meet a bunch of really amazing people. Yes,
Northerners are welcome as well.
Northerners are welcome as well, but you will be driving or flying, and that might not make it quite as fun. But we're going to talk about Northerners later. We do have some things happening with Northerners too. So so that's the first one, and that is in March 10th. And so I do have the link in the description below if you want to go join the Deep South Homestead Gathering. It is a Facebook page that you can go and let them know that you will be coming. We would love to see you all there. We'll only be there for just the one day because John does need to get back to school and hotels are expensive. Every other time we've seen Deep South Homestead, we stayed in their house with them, but it's such a large gathering that everybody is just having to scatter and find hotels this time. So let's see. In fact, I think that Danny and Wanda are actually just texting on the group right now. And yes, they still need a head count. And they are saying if you bring children, make sure to bring something for them to play with. Let's see. So the next one that we're doing is going to be May, and it will be May 5th and 6th at Baker's Creek for the Spring Planting Festival, and we'll be there with Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They'll be there for both days. I don't know if we'll be there for both days because John graduates on the 8th, and so we're really crowding things in probably an unhealthy way, trying to do all this because then as soon as we're done with John's graduation, the girls and I are going back home with John's parents to go back to the homestead, at which point I will be helping the renter with watering. There is a chance that I will already be there in March and that then I will come up with John's parents to come to the graduation. We're kind of trying to work that out. If I went early and I was actually home by March, back in Idaho by March, then there would be a lot more videos of Idaho weather and Idaho gardening, and we would probably be doing some videos with Darwin from the Honeydew Carpenter. But at this point, we just don't know. We probably won't know until after the Deep South Homestead Conference. So let's see. The difficult thing for me right now is that I just planted my garden. I've got my peas in, I've got my comfrey in, I have my basil out in the hotbed. The hotbed is hot. The chickens are laying well. The rabbits are happy. I got their cages hung, and I do have videos coming up of me putting the cages up here pretty quick. I have all these things systems that I got set up, and if I leave in March, I love my husband, but the fact is that he'll let everything die. I would have to sell all the chickens or give them to Bobby. I'd have to sell the rabbits or give them to Bobby. And then I would just have to live with the fact that everything in the garden would die. So that's kind of pulling on my heartstrings a little bit right now. I am looking a little paler than the wall, aren't I? Is that why you put the curtain down?
You're just getting it blown around a little bit. Adjust the lighting.
Why don't you put it all the way down and see if that doesn't help a little bit?
Well, we gotta take it out one pane at a time, and I see the glare off the wall.
That's definitely better.
Okay, so we'll try that. Baby steps, dear. We don't want to go pitch black.
No, we don't. We don't want to go pitch black. So what I'm thinking about right now is, what if after my crazy month of May, when I'm doing just so many things, what if in June we tried to do a meet and greet class, barbecue, something along those lines? What if we did that in northern Idaho? We have Grass-Fed Homestead up there. Essential Mountain Homestead is up there.
Idaho Hillbilly just showed up.
Hey, Idaho Hillbilly. I think Idaho Hillbilly is up in northern Idaho too. So
Central.
So what if we tried to do an Idaho meet and greet come June, and we, Josh from Essential Mountain Homesteading and I are kind of toying with the idea of doing a series of classes where he would be showing how to use a sawmill. I would bring rabbits to teach some butchering, maybe chickens to do some butchering, maybe bring some spinning wheels to show spinning, and turn it into like a mini series type of a class situation, like a 2-day thing. Or the other option is we could just do something like a meet and greet, a real just regular 3-hour type of a meet and greet where you guys got to do Q&As with us. The Grass-Fed Homestead, he does sheep. He has amazing pasture grazing systems where he does a phenomenal job. If you haven't seen his channel yet, make sure to go check him out. Grass-Fed Homestead. Essential Mountain Homestead, he is a carpenter slash what's the name, contractor slash supernova speed, drinks lots of rock star man, and he builds houses, and he's working on his second homestead, and so he's fantastic if you want to know the right way to build your off-grid dream home or your rural dream home. He's really good at that kind of thing. And then I have,
of which just showed up.
Did he? Did Essential Mountain? Oh, hello, Essential Mountain Homesteading. So he's right here. So if you want to click on his title or his picture, you can go see what his channel is about. He does do a lot of building, very similar to Pure Living for Life, but without the mistakes. So if you want to know how to do it right the first time and save money, you go to Essential Mountain Homesteading. He's doing a series right now on framing and flooring, and so he's a good guy to go check out. Flying VS Farms made it. Hello, hello. So I'm also wanting to do a series with Darwin from the Honeydew Carpenter. He has his foam mate that he has invented. He invented one that costs you $30 to make instead of having to spend $500 on an already made machine. And we're thinking that we might do a spring. If I do go home in March, we might do a spring series of him doing things like goat shelters or storage sheds, or kind of playing with what would happen with a shelter made with aircrete. Which is aircrete is concrete that has had air incorporated into it, and in some cases pumice. And he has different concentrations, different ratios of the ingredients depending on what you're building it with. He has a lot of background. His background is in construction and specifically concrete, and so he uses this foam mate to create aircrete, which is a super light, super depending on what you're using it for, it's either strong or it's soft. Right now, they're actually going out right now to put in, he just invented a double wall chimney for our tiny house, a double wall chimney that is using the aircrete as the insulation. Instead of having to spend $400 on double wall pipe for your chimney, instead you just use the foam mate and concrete, and you have two different sized pipes. So, and he just poured the concrete in between the two pipes to create the insulation. So that video will be coming up on their channel. That's the Honeydew Carpenter. But I think, you know, I still want to do all these like alternative building things, and it probably drives John crazy. Does it drive you crazy? All the alternative building things I want to make?
No comment.
You can't say no comment.
You are in friendly territory. I am not allowed to oppose.
Okay, Smallwood Homestead said, I'd be interested in the storage shelters, especially food storage. Right. And it's kind of like a monolith. You can do like a monolithic dome, but you can use the aircrete to make it. There is a channel here on YouTube. I wish I could remember what it's called. If you look up aircrete dome, you should be able to find it. It's not like a monolithic dome because you're not spraying concrete onto foam with a liner. Instead, with the aircrete, you can do pretty much the sky's the limit. You can make it into bricks and then put it on, or you can have a form that you then inject the aircrete into that then hardens like that, and then you take the form off. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. So I have some really brilliant friends on YouTube, and I would love to do classes with them. And depending on where you are in the country, we're kind of thinking that it would be fun to do some small classes, but we do want to know what the interest level is. I wish we could save the comments on the side.
Right. Yeah, there's some good ones this time.
Let's see. Jay Shiloh Shia said, can you find a garden sitter and a bunny sitter? We're going to pay one of the girls. Her mom watches my channel, so we got to be friends, and the kids like to play with each other. She has a teenage daughter that can come over and open and close for the chickens and open and close for the bunnies. But for the long term, unless somebody lived really close to me, there's no way. I guess I could put the water on a timer. That would probably be the best option. But who would be here to harvest it is also the thing, is that a garden shouldn't just grow, it should also be eaten out of. And yeah, Jenny Monday says he pleads the fifth. Would you go out and pick peas? Would you go out and pick lettuce?
No.
You wouldn't, would you?
Weed whack.
My garden?
The lawn. I don't know if the garden happened to be an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire.
Andrew Craner said, it's okay, John. My wife hates all my weird alternative home ideas too. See, John wants to live in a monolithic dome. He wants to live in a monolithic dome. Right. So he thinks that weird idea is fantastic.
I just want my off-grid place with high-speed internet and cable and 150,000 rounds of ammo, and then we're good. Yes.
Right?
Right.
Oh, here's the other thing. We just added somebody onto my Facebook. Her name is Catherine, and she is back in New Mexico. We stayed in New Mexico for, I think, a total of 3 weeks.
Quite a while, almost a month.
One of the longest places we stayed. It was the second longest place we stayed besides Florida. And we absolutely loved New Mexico. It was so beautiful. The cicadas were so beautiful. It didn't get too hot, but it was so nice. We loved it. And the bike paths in Silver City were amazing. So she has come onto my Facebook to help me kind of curate it a little bit, and she's going to be writing some articles. She has soap and lotion that she's going to be putting into my Etsy store, so that we're working as kind of a partnership here. So if you haven't gone over and subscribed to my Facebook group, it's just Dirtpatcheaven. Go over and subscribe to it so you can get those. She's been watching my channel for a really long time, so she knows about all the old videos that are good, and she's not going to put up any of my stupid videos that were such poor quality. So again, if you'd like to see some of our older videos that were really high quality as far as information, make sure that you have joined us over on Facebook. I'm trying really hard on Instagram. I'm not as good on Instagram. It's hard for me to show ugly things. And a lot of the things that I've been making lately are so ugly. They're functional. They're not very pretty. No comment, huh?
I'm just reading comments. Josh agrees with me.
Amen, Brother John, about what?
The monolithic dome.
Oh, the monolithic dome.
100,000 rounds of ammo.
But then Essential Mountain Homestead couldn't build it for you. He doesn't do concrete. He does timber framing.
Yeah, but we also have Honeydew Carpenter. So
Anita Johnson said, Julie, check out Larry Halls from Brainerd. Is that Minnesota? Amen? Or is that Maine?
That'd be Minnesota.
Minnesota? Watering systems. He has lots of great ideas. I will go look at that for sure.
Have More Farm. Too much social media.
Who said that?
The Have More Farm. You were talking about all of the platforms.
I get so confused because he changed his name, and now I don't always associate him with his new channel. Okay. Little Bits of Heaven Homestead made it. Hello. Have More Farm said too much. Yes, I agree. There is too much social media. I get really frustrated with it because I'd much rather be out gardening. But John hasn't graduated yet, so I cannot desert my post until he's graduated and we can go back to a normal life. So until then, I am obligated to share that I have social media like Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. If you want to know about my boards on Pinterest, they're amazing. The How to Homestead on a Budget board is the best one. I put all my best stuff on there. And I don't know who's trying to talk to me. Let's see. Oh, no, it says my battery's low. Do you have a plug-in?
Not for that one.
Okay, then I will just turn it down so it's not making so much noise. John reset my phone and I'm no longer friends with it.
You weren't friends with it before.
I wasn't friends with it
Throw it
before.
against a wall.
Okay, guy with crazy ideas said, what is your favorite form of entertainment? I love to watch chickens. That is my favorite form of entertainment, is like watching ducks play in water or watching chickens peck. Like, our chickens look so much better. Don't they look better? They look like real chickens instead of like drowned rats.
I had nicknamed one Death Warmed Over, and she is not looking the part anymore.
And you're starting to see like different feather patterns on them. One of them has like little strawberry blonde tinged neck feathers, and she's smaller. I'm going to have a really hard time leaving these chickens. Can I just tell you?
Take them with you.
I would take them with me. How am I going to put them in the car for 3 days?
Well, let them out at Airbnbs and soak around the yard, and then gather them back up.
You know I can't do that. Camelina Balchin said hello. A view is a view made it. Hello, hello. Bandana Grandma said, I would love to be at the Deep South Homestead meetup, but the husband has to work and I won't travel alone. He retires in June, so next year I plan to be there. I don't know if they'll have one next year. I know that this has been a lot of work for one, and she's super excited about it, and I'm excited for her, but I know that it's been a lot of work for them.
To have 4 more farm just nailed it. He says the same way you travel with the kids, in the trunk.
That's terrible. Yeah. When Kids Nanny Lori Vance said, we love to watch our chickens. They are the most entertaining little things. And now we have the rabbits up and happier. I was intending to show you guys the whole go through of raising them from babies, but because we lost that one batch, I'm not, and when we're going to be traveling, I'm not sold on going and getting a buck, because if we breed them, I don't know where I'm going to be, and I really am attached to them. I had a really hard time leaving the animals at our other homestead, and some of them died after I left. Not the ones that my renters had. They took very good care of the animals, but some of my others that I sold passed away. And it was really hard to know that that happened. And so now here we've taken these chickens that were caged chickens. They'd never been on dirt before. They'd never seen grass before, and they didn't even know how to scratch. They just kind of walked around the dirt, and it took weeks for them to learn that you're supposed to scratch the dirt. And now they're starting to scratch, and their feathers have come back in, and they're beautiful, and they have personalities, and I'm really struggling.
And they're going to be tasty.
I'm not going to butcher them. I'm not going to butcher them.
Posh chickens.
Off Grid with Doug and Stacy is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, Cynthia Lee Well said, I miss watching the chickadees and the quails outside my window in Murphy, Idaho. I don't think we have quails where we are. I think we do out on the desert. It used to be that there were, what were they called? They were bigger than quail.
The geese?
No.
The guinea hen.
No, not the guinea hen. The ones that are native to our place. The native ones that when we first moved there was one on our porch, remember?
Pheasants? Wild turkeys?
No. There's a high school. There's a high school named after them.
Which one?
Well, if I remembered that, I wouldn't ask
that would be
you.
like, I mean, we have potato names around there, so.
Let's see. Guy with Crazy Idea said, what was your favorite toy from childhood? When I was really little, I had a doll that I really liked, but mostly once I got my first farm animal when I was like 18 months old. It was a duck and some bunnies. And then when I was 9, I got my first bum lamb. When I was 11, I got my first goat. When I was 10, I got my first horse. So pretty much if it had a heartbeat and breathed, it was my favorite. I will admit, when I was in my 20s, I did prefer tools to animals to some degree. Those were my favorite gifts. Favorite toys would have been tools. And now as a grown-up, my favorite gift is tools or gardening supplies or something like that, or dirt or lumber, something like that. Jay Shiloh, she has said, Facebook, got it, be looking for you. And sorry, not Sandra, Catherine just posted this morning. So you see her, she's this gorgeous redhead. And we're going to be doing some live shows showing spinning. She's a beginning spinner, but she does have a spinning wheel. And I will be spinning, and we'll be using some of Natalie from Namaste Farms fiber to show what a really, really superior raw fleece looks like. So we're going to be doing that once a week on Facebook Live. So hopefully you guys will go and subscribe. Oh, Dustin Dean said, my wife found you on Instagram. I get on there so infrequently now. I used to post every day to Instagram because I loved it. It was so easy. But again, I had this beautiful homestead. I had my crafting room where everything was beautiful. I was showing yarn that was gorgeous. And since we've been traveling, there are some days when I just don't see the beauty because I am so attracted to homesteading things that if I don't have a homesteading thing to show, I don't see the beauty. What?
The Howmore Farm. I could use a gorgeous redhead.
She is gorgeous. She is absolutely beautiful. She has this really, really long, beautiful, really red hair, and she's beautiful. So if you want to see what she looks like, but she's married with kids. She is on my Facebook page. You could go join.
That's facebook.com/Dirtpatcheaven.
Dirtpatcheaven on Facebook. Oh, I was going to read what you said. You said, I was like, oh, Mr. Dirt says try quail. They're quieter. I'm like, yes, Mr. Dirt, quail are quieter, but they're not actually quieter because they have that little trill.
Right, but nobody knows what it is.
Can you make the trill? I can't make the trill. Yeah, there you go. Kind of like that.
But nobody recognizes what that is. It doesn't sound like a chicken. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like a chicken. It sounds like a wild bird.
So somebody thinks you have a parakeet in a cage or something.
Right.
You know?
And that's the other thing I wanted to add. I do want to add quail here, but I am starting to get anxious for the welfare of my animals as I'm traveling a lot this next little bit. Again, I do have somebody to take care of the animals I already have. But for instance, what if I did leave in March? What if I went back to Idaho in March so that I could do a series on the Hare Creek back at the homestead? Then I wouldn't want to be getting my quail established here. I'd want to be getting my quail established there. And I don't want to leave them. And the cages were so expensive. I wouldn't want to leave them either.
Somebody suggested getting a trailer.
Right, but since the transmission is already screwed up,
right.
I've got like mascara in my eye. Can you see it?
Got towing.
Did I get the mascara that time?
From here, it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I've got like mascara nasty in my eyes.
I'm only 8 feet away for everybody.
Amy Jimenez said, I love this channel. I have learned so much. Thank you for all you guys do. Your daughters are amazing. God bless. Oh, what a kind thing to say. I've had so much crap lately and it's pissed me off to no end. Like in one video, they're going to tell me how badly mannered my kids are, like because they come into a live stream and they want to talk to you guys. And then in the next stream or in the next video where I'm talking about rabbits and I'm telling Paige that she needs to stop giving the rabbit sunflower seeds and to please stop putting it on the ground because it costs money. Then on that video, somebody came in and said, oh my gosh, can you see how scared the older daughter is of her mom? And I'm like, why would she be scared of me? Or maybe she should be scared of me because I'm her parent and she's wasting food. And so you just can't win them all. And sometimes I get really sad about it. And I'm like, I can't show real life. I can't show people what it's like to have a homestead and have kids who are doing chores. Because if I try to reprimand my children when they do something wrong, then I'm a mean mom. But if I let my kids get away with crap, then I'm a bad mom because I let them get away with crap.
In through the nose, out the mouth. Rant off. Okay.
Anita Johnson said, can you pull a trailer? They could ride along in some kind of chicken tractor. They should not wander far when you let them out. Yes, our particular chickens don't wander far. If you approach them, they squat and they just freeze. Like a normal chicken will like try to run away before she squats down to kind of, and our chickens, they just freeze. They don't know to be afraid of people. They were raised in cages their whole life and they just think we're the wonderful people who bring them food. And so when they see us coming, they come and hover around our feet. So I honestly could take them to an Airbnb, but I'm pretty sure I would get fined very strongly for letting them out on the lawn.
You need to push the blue button. You're quite a ways back in
Have I missed anything?
Well, they're talking now about kids and giving you encouragement, but you'd get to that in 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to read everything.
Well, there's been some great ones. I mean, Rebecca's really helping out. And hey, what is it?
Smallwood Homestead said, I like my toolkit. Dad wanted a boy.
Yeah.
What were you saying, honey?
Louise back there.
What were you saying about that?
Scroll down.
I can't do it. I can't.
You're like miles back there.
Oh, and if you guys like a new, would like a new channel to go follow, they're doing rabbits right now, and it's Dustin Dean. I've been following them lately, and they are the cutest little family. They're doing a Warren system, and it's obviously in a colder place than we are right now. I think they had snow on the ground last time, but I thought they did a good job. I'm wondering what's going to keep the baby rabbits in because they have some kind of wider gauge wire at the bottom. I'm excited to see what they do, what happens with it. So it's I always think Dean first. It's not Dean first. It's Dustin space Dean. 2 words. Dustin Dean. Go check him out. They're awesome.
Isn't he on?
Anita Johnson said, "Are you moving back to Idaho permanently?" We don't know what we're doing. John has applications into a lot of different places, and
she says she'd like Rhode Island.
Once he's out of school, he probably needs to work somewhere for a couple years to get some experience and then to know where he wants to go from there. So I have my fingers crossed. As much as I love YouTube, which I do, I would like to be able to cut back from every day. Right now, I have to upload every day in order to have it moving as quickly as it needs to be our income. And I would really like to cut that back to every other day, maybe twice a week, because I feel like I could give more in-depth videos if I could give myself a little bit of breathing room to edit a video more fully, to learn my programs better. If I was only uploading 2 or 3 times a week, I just really feel like I could give better quality rather than so much quantity, if that makes sense. Guy with crazy ideas said, "How would you describe heaven?" Like, what would be heaven for me? I would put down roots I would never leave. There'd be lots of fruit trees and fruit bushes. I would have to say there would be an absence of bugs, at least biting bugs. I don't mind bugs if they don't bite, but my skin is super hypersensitive, and so a mosquito bite will bug me for 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. I will have if I get even just one bite, it stays with me for so long, it's miserable. Let's see.
The Have More Farm Heaven is a huge library.
Yeah.
So you could go
I have a pretty good sized library. That was the one thing I couldn't get rid of when we moved into the little house.
The RV.
Or the RV. I took boxes and boxes of books because I couldn't stand the thought of not taking them. But the funny thing is I never have time to read them. I have them like they're my safety blanket, you know, or not safety blanket, security blanket. Having the books is a security blanket. But I find that because I've already read them once, and because, again, I work a lot of hours. How many hours a day do you think I work to put up videos and stuff?
I'm in school.
Yeah, he's in school. How much time do I work when you're actually home?
Oh,
I'm still working when he gets home.
Biddy Boo and Rain Country both showed up. Hi,
yay!
Ladies.
Hello. Yes. I'm been derailed.
Did I throw you off?
Yep.
Good at that, huh?
Let's see.
Anyway.
Sacred Wonders means that I'm not on social media. Is YouTube social media? Kind of, not really the same.
So far back. Hit the blue button.
I can't. Oh, Stephanie made it. Stephanie Noose made it. Okay, where'd she go? Okay, Instagram is a happy forum. People there seem super kind. I'm kind of over Facebook. I love Instagram, and I'm able to follow a lot more people on Instagram because I'm just looking at quick little pictures. And one of my favorite people to follow is Stephanie Noose. She and her cute boys, they are cowboys and cow people to the bone, and I love watching them. They have a beautiful family. So if you want a treat, go to Stephanie Noose, N-U-C-E, on Instagram. They're amazing. Let's see. The Needy Homestead said, "I refused to butcher my first rooster. I live in town and gave it to someone I know that rescues critters. That bird was so spoiled that she went out and bought him a harem of hens to keep him company." That's awesome. We've had some roosters that we felt that deeply about. And when they...
some of them sacrificed for
some of them sacrificed. We had one rooster that he should have been dead, but he was staying alive to protect his hens. And that one we bawled. When we found him, he had protected his hens and from a dog, and he was almost dead, but he was still protecting them. And we had to put him down because he was in so much pain. He was so bad. Parts of him were missing, and yet he was still protecting them. And we sobbed. We didn't butcher him. We had a funeral. It was so sad. We loved him. Let's see.
He'd have been a tough freezer bird anyway, so.
Oh.
Just saying.
The only chickens that I don't mind butchering are the Randy Young roosters that are being really mean to the hens, that are beating up on each other, beating up on the hens. Those ones, I don't really have any problem butchering them.
And the smaller they are, the more nasty little thing
they can be really nasty.
Yeah. So the what are the tiny ones? The Banty roosters are just
We had some really great banshee. The only roosters we had that were mean. The only roosters we had that were mean were the ones we got from other people that were randy young roosters on somebody else's property. If we raised the rooster, we would only raise one rooster. And we would, you know, we were really careful how we raised them. And so we didn't end up having problems. Let's see.
Rain Country says, I finally figured out why I could not post anything to Instagram. I don't have a smartphone.
Who?
That would do it. Heidi.
Oh, did St. Bernard, where did St. Bernard Acres made it. Hello. Gail just goes out and shakes a bag of mealworms and the chickens come running. A trick when they get out of their run, LOL. Oh, St. Bernard Acres has been watching for so long. It's so nice when you pop in. Carmelina Balkan said, Julie, you must do what you want to do. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy. Ignore the ones that tell you you should. Live your life and keep being happy. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a really good thing. But sometimes, in our instance, why is it that I can't do that currently, John? Since you just gave me the all-knowing look of accusation.
No. That was a comment from 15 minutes ago when you were talking about
right.
YouTube.
But why is it that I can't currently do it?
Why you cannot currently do it?
Why I can't currently go to twice a week?
You don't let things go.
That's not fair. You have to tell them why I can't go to twice a week.
Because currently she feels like
that is not the truth. You have to tell them the truth.
Currently it is our living.
Thank you. You can't say that it's just because that's what I want.
And yet
so not the
we
truth.
have savings, so let's put both sides in there. Just saying.
Enough to go through the next 6 months. You better watch it, dude. You better backpedal right now.
Not driving around the country. No, it would not cover all of the business trips that go included with that. Is that fair? That's fair.
That's fair.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we have enough to live on just fine. But when is the chicken still cooking?
I'll go check. You just want to get me out of
No, what I noticed is that I keep thinking that smells like burning chicken. That really, really smells like burning chicken.
Is it getting warm in here too? Oh no, that's just me.
All right.
It's the Avalon Bay heater, honey.
Okay. Marilyn Coleman said your girls are perfect. Children on some other channels are so rude. My kids can be rude too. My goodness, we have some struggles. You know how with kids you're never sure, am I disciplining them too much? Am I not disciplining them enough? You know, it's such a fine line in like not letting them, push you, and at the same time listening when they have needs. It's such a hard. Oh my goodness, I am way far ahead. If I hit the blue button, will you go back and find any really great questions that I missed?
Hey, I've been citing them to you as they come through.
Oh, you have?
And usually you see them when you read them and ask them, or you quote them again.
You can't bump me. Sorry. Was it on?
Yeah.
It was. It was on.
The kids had emptied the pot and left it on there cooking.
Dang it.
It's like,
Awesome. St. Bernard Acres said, I retire next year. One of my first trips I wanted to do is go to Idaho to see you guys. So for those of you who are like St. Bernard Acres and want to come see us, this year we're thinking about doing meet and greets and classes in southeast Idaho where we are, and also in northern Idaho where Essential Mountain Homesteading and the Grassfed Homestead. Have you checked on eggs?
Owen and Piper's mom is watching your live show.
Oh, that's so cool. Can you go get eggs, please?
Sure.
Please. Okay.
That's funny.
All right. Betty Boo Brown made it. Hello, how are you? We tried to go out and see you 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Was it 2 weeks ago? We tried really hard to come out and see you.
Well, and she'd gotten a new number.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I gave you that new number. And then I reset the phone and you hadn't backed up yet. So
okay.
I'll give you the new number again.
Sorry. So. All right. Let's see how far. Rain Country said, I finally figured out why I could not post anything to Instagram. I don't have a smartphone. So you can actually add.
I read that comment to you and you said that it was funny. Like 15 minutes ago.
Really?
So hit the blue button.
Rain Country, you can actually do it from your computer. You can take photos on your phone or with the camera, and then you can upload them to your computer and put them on Instagram from your computer. Okay, promise me you're going backwards and looking for good questions, and I'll hit the blue button.
Biddy Boo says, yes, I tried to call you, but you don't answer, LOL. I'm like, yeah, she doesn't answer when I call her either.
Okay. Yes, lately we have had so much going on, and I generally don't have my phone with me. And John just what's the word? You just reset it.
Yep. Factory reset because it was bogging down. Androids are really bad at that. They will get clutter on them.
See, now there's no questions.
Okay, Rain Country says haha because
Oscar with Doug Spacey said Rain Country is a troublemaker on Facebook. Rain
really
Country on Facebook, she has a lot of herbal content talking about herbs, and she has these gorgeous, gorgeous skirts that she makes that are like patchwork skirts, peasant gypsy skirts. They're beautiful. The one that I loved was, I think it was red and brown, if I remember correctly. It was like one of that old-fashioned rose on white. And it was gorgeous. It made me drool. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay, Jenny Monday has to take off. She has to go clean the backyard.
Mr. iPod says hello from Canada.
Cynthia Lee Wells said, any ideas on how to look for a homesteading job? Would that be a woofer? If so, where do I locate that? So you can be a woofer. And, you know, I really liked the woofing program. It's one of the reasons why if we did move back into the big house, it would be nice. It's nice that we now have the tiny house, is because we liked to take really good care of our woofers. Previously, we had them in the RV. We would keep it stocked with fruit and water and that kind of thing. And they would actually use the bathroom in our house because we had an extra bathroom in the basement so that they could shower and use the toilet and that kind of thing. As I know that the market gardener, John Martin Fortier, he did the woofing program with his wife. And before they started their own farm, they actually rented property and did a market garden on their rental property. And then Curtis Stone, who is the urban farmer, he rented people's backyards and used them for gardening. And so I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I do love the woofing program, but make sure you spell it with 2 W's, woofing. What?
2 O's and 2 W's. Yeah. Okay. Michael Gross, hello from Ontario, Oregon. Hey, we love that area. And Biddy Boo
Did we
says
go
she
through
will
Ontario?
be, yeah, it's right next to Boise. And Biddy Boo says she'll be having some babies in the next week or so.
Babies for what?
Goats, chickens, rabbits. All the above. Let's see. Oh, she says both my dairy goats are getting close to dominoing.
Oh, why are they yelling out there? Michael Miller said, no questions. I just love your video blog. Very informative. I am so glad you like it. Rainy Country said, Michelle Gross, did you, Michael, is it Michael? Michael Gross, did you get snow there too? We get our snow. Whoa, where'd it go?
I love his movies.
Guy with Crazy Ideas says, do you believe the government is seeding the sky with chemicals, chemtrails, and contrails? I know that Danny over at Deep South Homestead thinks that. I don't know what I think about it. Right now, I'm being poisoned by what the government has put in my water supply. If you guys missed that, like a month ago, I started reacting really badly to the city water because they have, what do they call it? Chlorinine or something. They changed the chlorine a little bit so that it doesn't have like the half-life that it did before. It has an extended half-life so that it doesn't die, it doesn't dissipate. Instead, it stays in the water longer and kills bacteria and things longer. And my skin reacted so badly to it. It was terrible.
Okay, Anita Johnson, please explain what woofing is.
Okay, so woofing is an organization that is nonprofit that gets people that want to work on farms together with people who need people to come work on their farm. And the way that they do that is you go sign up for it. And I think it's a $25 registration fee. And then you list what kind of places you want to woof on. And then if I'm the farmer, which I was, I would list what jobs I have for people to do. And then they come to your farm, you teach them how to farm, and then they work as an apprentice on your farm. And your job as the farmer is to give them room and board. And it's not a paid position, although a lot of people who woof end up in a paid position on the farm that they work on if they do a good job.
To have more farm. That's when you volunteer to do other people's chores for them.
Well, but they feed
totally
and
like that.
they feed they feed and house you during that time. And I think the maximum that you can work is 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so we usually were done with work before lunch. And so we'd get up really early in the morning, like 5, go get our work done. And then I would feed them. I would have fed them breakfast before we started. And then I'd feed them lunch and I'd feed them dinner. And then they had the RV. And now if we were to move back into the big house, they would have the tiny house to live in. Who got brainwashed? Me?
Heidi. He's talking about Heidi. Heidi's talking in the third person.
Oh, okay.
Or Patrick is on Heidi's account. Either way, it's kind of funny.
Let's see. The needy homesteader said that sounds kind of like a tenant farming. It's not really tenant farming because the farmer works with you. You don't own the property and you don't get to choose what it is you're planting. What it is you come and live on their farm. They teach you to do whatever it is they want you to know how to do. You have a certain number of hours you have to put in every day. You don't get any of the proceeds from the sale of anything. You don't make any money. You get fed and you get housed. And a lot of people who are tourists, even if they don't care about farming, they'll go do the woofing program so that they can travel the country room and board free. Mm-hmm. And it saves a ton of money. And a lot of the people who came and saw us, that's why they did it, is because they didn't want to have to pay for room and board while they were traveling.
We had a young French couple that were touring all of the Americas, and that's how they were doing most of it.
Yep. And we had, so three of our woofers were from Europe. One was from Ireland, and the other 2 were from France. And then we had 2 one from Illinois, from Chicago, and one from, where was Katie from?
I think she was the one from Chicago, wasn't she?
Was she from Chicago?
And then the other one was Missouri?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
I don't know. They were back east. And so we didn't have anybody local that wanted to woof. It was people from other countries and from way far away. So how are we doing? We got 15 minutes left. So if you guys want anything like that, particularly if you're from Idaho, if you would like to be part of some kind of Idaho homesteading conference, let me know.
Or Washington or Oregon. Rains.
I know, it'd be really fun to do it with rain country, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. But I don't know when we're going to be up that far.
Well,
true. I was saying northern Idaho.
Right, but that would be a good halfway point. We'd be just as far.
I know, but we need somebody's homestead. We got to have a homestead in order to be able to butcher chickens or.
Calling Josh.
I know, but we already have it set up with Josh. We already know he wants to do it with us.
Right. Oh, bang, Dan, Grandma's out. Good night.
See ya.
Yeah, Nevada. Thank you, Rebecca, Cynthia. Appreciate you both.
Tangle.
It's not just an Idaho thing. We would invite the other lesser states to come too.
But I'd have to travel to it. In that case,
no, in Idaho. Hold it in Idaho, but they're invited as well.
Oh yeah, everybody's invited. I was asking people if they wanted to be part of a conference where we would actually teach classes. Gotcha. That's what I was asking. Okay. The problem with this is, and this is what complicates it, is if I have to travel really far, then we have to charge more for the classes because I would have to travel to it. And the same thing goes for anybody that would have to travel a long distance to come teach classes. Is something in our places that we would have to charge in order to be able to help them with flight expenses and food expenses and hotel expenses, which are not insignificant. Just for us to go to Mississippi, we're spending a mint just to get to Mississippi and back.
In a 3-day spin. Okay, Cynthia Lee Wells, I was kidding.
What?
Making sure. She's like, lesser, huh? Ah.
What? Did I totally miss something?
All of the lesser states can come to Idaho.
You don't even like Idaho.
Right, but I've got that duality because it's also home state. I have to have that pride.
Smallwood Homestead said, I wish I lived closer to attend some of your classes. So here's the thing. If you guys want to set some up, for instance, what I'd like to start doing is doing some classes with Natalie from Namaste Farm. She does wool classes. And so if you guys were to set up and get a certain number of people, what Natalie does is she rents out an Airbnb, and then for like 2 days, we go and we do the dyeing and the fiber class at the Airbnb. We all get together. We all stay in the Airbnb and eat and sleep in the Airbnb so that we're not doing a lot of traveling. So it's kind of like a sleepover. But you're doing it as a fiber course. And so if there are people further out in the country who want to set something like that up, it means we'd have to charge a little bit more because I would have to fly in. But I'm trying to set these kinds of things up and kind of get the wheels spinning in people's heads to say, okay, so I couldn't travel 13 hours to go see Julianne at her place, but what if we got a conference together here and Julianne came and there were rabbits and chickens involved and we could show how to butcher and we could show how to can, and I could bring my spinning wheel. My spinning wheel does travel, and we could show people how to spin, and we could do all that kind of thing. We're trying to figure out how to get that put together, but we would have to have hosts, people who would actually set it up, who would find out how many people were willing to do it, what people wanted us to teach while we were there, that kind of thing.
Josh says he's willing to do a local meetup too. Apparently,
the Santa Monica Homestead?
Yeah, apparently that's like a lesser.
Right, that's the one we're planning on with
more
Josh.
Local one, I think, than what he was saying. So.
Who's Webfooter?
I don't know. Let's see.
What would be really fun is if we could get Josh from Essential Mountain Homestead and Doug from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy together in the same room. The building might explode. There's so much personality and skill to be lost, or to be lost between those two.
But hey, they'd have it rebuilt in half an
They
hour.
would have it rebuilt in half an hour. That would be awesome. Okay, so if you guys are interested in something like that, I'm not putting it into play like instantly. For instance, the one that Josh from Essential Mountain Homesteading and I are thinking about. I'm sorry, it's just that I can't. My ball is too far away and I can't balance.
I get yelled at for
sorry. Josh from Essential Homesteading and I are trying to figure it out. It sounds like we're going to do it in June, and that'll be in northern Idaho. If we want to do it somewhere else, I need to have somebody else there on the ground who's setting it up. Like, for instance, if Rain Country wanted to set one up, it would have to be something where I would have to have enough to cover my costs to go out if I have a plane ticket or something like that. So if Rain Country wanted to set up a meet and greet, herbal, homesteading conference, and a backyard conference to boot, because they homestead in their backyard and it's gorgeous. They have this gorgeous chicken coop and all the green, beautiful things. If we wanted to get all the homesteading channels from that area and get them all together and do a big conference there, we could do a conference, and it wouldn't have to be complicated, but it would have to be you guys on the ground finding other channels and other people who are interested in coming, and then I would just show up. Grumpy Troll said, hi, Julie. I haven't forgotten about your care package. I had to fine tune the shampoo and conditioner. I think you'll really like it much better than anything I've purchased on the store. That sounds awesome. Thank you so much. Stephanie New said, yes, most definitely. That is a great idea. People are willing to pay for your knowledge. Like for instance, with Stephanie News, they are horse people, and they do, her husband does workshops all the time as part of his work. So they're, I think, depending on the group that we got together, there would be a different arrangement of skills. They do horses and cows. So if you're more interested in large animals, theirs would be the place to go do it. If you want to know about backyard, small plot homesteading, Rain Country Homestead would be the place to go. If you wanted to know about how to make money on your homestead through YouTube, it would be my place you'd want to go to. And so I think it would be really fun to start doing some of these small workshops and see if we can get local people together so that we can meet in person. And I just think it would be super fun. And I'd like to get my feet wet doing it, just because I'd like to get my feet back on a homestead, even if it's not my own homestead. Doing things like the butchering and the canning and that kind of thing is something really fun for me. And I haven't been able to do it as much just because we've been traveling. We've got so much other stuff going on.
Tanglewood Off-Grid Homestead. When do you think the North Idaho Conference might be?
June.
Tentatively.
We don't know. June.
Right. We don't know, but for sure June.
Josh and I have to get together on that. Josh is thinking it needs to be on a weekend. obviously it would make it more helpful to other people who'd be bringing children. A weekend would be best. But one of the things we have to look into is, are we putting together a tent and having something like a revival? Or are we, one thing we're trying to figure out is Josh going to get out his sawmill and am I going to butcher a chicken, or are we just going to have a 3-hour Q&A?
Could Josh get out his military tent?
I'm not sure what he's thinking, because he does have his family there, and it would be a lot of people that we don't personally know. So because it's on Josh's property, I'm leaving it in Josh's hands.
Exactly.
So right now we're trying to fill things out. Facebook is probably a good place to leave comments about that. If you want to message me on Facebook about that kind of thing, that would be appropriate. Flying VS Farm said, I'd have to say I traveled to Idaho for a conference. I have family up there and can make a road trip out of it. That would be awesome. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy said, that's what we will be doing soon. What will you be doing soon? Rain Country said, I will think about it. We are so remote. I'm not sure people would want to travel this far, though Twilighters do it every year. That's awesome. Like Twilight, the series.
Right. I'd love to come to Eastern Oregon or Western Oregon.
I don't know.
Beautiful country.
I'm new to this, so I don't know either, but I think it's something to think about. I think which is why Josh and I are starting. It's in northern Idaho. It's close enough that it's not expensive that I need to necessarily worry about the expense of driving up to see Josh to do this. And so if people can start having like a nuclear, if you can reach out to your homesteaders in your local area, not necessarily on the social media, but just finding each other physically and having these conferences, kind of like what they did, what Patera did with the Appalachian homestead. It wouldn't have to be that big and fancy, but it could be smaller. I think that kind of thing would be really neat. And then if you do have somebody that has a big channel that you want to have come see them, like Doug and Stacy, if you charge people, $50 a ticket to come, then you have enough money to send to Doug and Stacy to say, here, buy your plane ticket, come out and speak to us. Does that make sense? Because that is the hard thing, is when you get enough of these events in a year, it starts to get really, really expensive, and it makes it so that, what?
Heidi, she's really fun. Bella's house is on the next street over from us. Eyes roll.
I'm so glad that you're talking about the Twilight series while I'm trying to explain how they get Doug and Stacy to come to their conference.
Well,
dude, you haven't even read the book.
I've got a great joke about that series, but I can't have it here. It's a G-rated channel. So
if you wanted to have Doug and Stacy come to your little homestead conference, if you charged everybody $50, or everybody chipped in and said, okay, $50 a pop, and then you sent the money to Doug and Stacy could then afford to fly out and stay with you for a couple days and give you the class. But the hard thing about getting somebody like that to come is that if they have to take it out of their own pocket, then there has to be some other way for them to make money while they're there, because they're taking time away from making YouTube videos, which is their livelihood, in order to come and teach a conference. That's how that works. What?
Well,
you're distracting from the show.
Rebecca and Heidi are hilarious. That's all that I can say. Rebecca's like, oh, Heidi, that's fuel for the fire. And Heidi's like, haha, it was my fault. Yes, Heidi, you happen to move where we're going to put a movie in. No,
it's your fault. It's not Heidi's fault. It's your fault for sitting here and giggling while I'm trying to...
Thinking everybody's hilarious. Loving.
Anyway.
Go ahead, dear.
Okay, that's all I want to talk about today, if you guys are up for it. So we are out of time, unless John wants to tell more about the saga of the Twilight.
7 more minutes, and like I said, I can't. I'll have to tell everybody that joke in person. It's hilarious.
Not hilarious.
Susan Sullivan came in. Hey,
Susan is here.
Susan, how are you?
It still smells like it's burning. Did you add water to it?
I turned it off and left the pan cool. I will not put cold water or any water in a...
Oh, there it goes. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy said, no, we said we're staying home more, right? Because they're going to the Baker's Creek conference at the very least, and we're going to be there with them in May. So, yeah.
Jennifer Filia says, haha, you need a moderator for your moderators.
Right?
Yeah.
Anita Johnson said they're not staying home. They just started Field Trip Fridays, LOL.
Right? Yeah. Can't keep y'all home for nothing.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to put down roots and never leave. No comment.
Flying VS Farm said it's my fault. That's why Mr. Rain put us both in timeout.
Let's see.
Okay, the Needy Homemaker said they have some of these classes in the adult short classes through the local community college, but I'd travel if anyone would do one about cheese making or soap making. So Catherine in New Mexico, she does soap, and we both know how to make cheese, so that would be fun. Carmelina Balkin said, I love you two. Julie, kick him under the table. I know, right? But then he starts to whine about that too.
No, you just can't reach me. You got a cross brace in the way.
Stephanie New said, you have to set your rate ahead of time. Know what it would cost you and what your time's worth. Then the details can be nailed out. I think that's really good wisdom. No, you can't sit there and have hilarity while I'm trying to answer. No, shut it.
Go.
Shut it. Zip.
Come on, you got it.
Zip it.
You're going to read it.
Turning you off. Okay. So that's what Josh and I are trying to figure out right now. We've never done one before. I know how much it's costing me just to go to Mississippi. And unfortunately, it's making me mad. I'm really frustrated about it. Because it is an event where we're going where we're not going to be making any money, and I'm not doing any tours of tiny houses along the way because we're driving so fast. And usually when I'm traveling, that's how I manage to recoup some of that money, is to do a tour of a tiny house or something.
So we're doing it just because we love you.
We're doing it just because we love Danny and Wanda, and we want to go see them, and we want to meet everybody there, and we already committed to it. And so I'm trying to be much wiser in the future and say, if there's not some way for me to make up my time. What? Why are you just giving me the eyebrows?
To get done so that I can
okay, tell me the joke. Tell me the joke.
She says her favorite Twilight meme is the one with Wesley Snipes in the background, and it says, "This is how it should have ended." Wesley Snipes, the vampire.
Didn't he kill him?
Blade, the Blade series.
I like the one where it talked about how she cheated on him, and then he gets all pissy in the outtakes and like flicks her and spills wine on her and is all mad at her. That one was really funny. I think that was Comedy Central. Anyway, Oscar with Doug and Stacy said, we stayed home for the first 5 years and went nowhere. Last couple of years, we've gotten out.
Exactly.
Jay Wolfcat made it. Hello, hello. Daniel Stevens made it. Hello.
You're very, very.
You're a giggler.
Yes. Well, I'm not allowed to laugh out loud around.
Well, no, because you always do it when I'm trying to answer a question.
Right. And I'm sorry, that's one of the best punchlines.
Smallwood Homestead said I can teach how to make candles. Yes, and that would be super fun. There's so many things that people could teach out there, and if we could afford to get to everybody, we would go. But
Hi, Daniel Stevens.
It's a learning experience for sure. Stephanie New said, if you need help, text or message me. I will help you and tell you how we do it for Ted's bull riding clinics. That is really generous. I actually will. Let's see. I would do that through Facebook or Instagram. Can I message you through Instagram? Because I don't think, do I have your phone number?
Michael
R said, do discount consulting while driving down to Deep South Homestead. We would love to do that, and I think it's actually really smart. It's because we're driving so fast that I can't get anything else done. If we were to take 2 or 3 days to drive down, it wouldn't be that hard to find things to do along the way. Yeah, that's the hard thing, is we're trying to run back and forth for John to be in school.
Nitty Gritty Homestead is willing to do one for Southeast Idaho.
Nitty Gritty Homestead, yes, we would love to do that. If you can find out how many people want to be there and you have a date when we'll be around, then we could just do it at your place.
Because that's such a far drive.
I know, it's so far.
I need plane tickets for that.
Flying VS Farm said, I'm getting started on my alpaca fleece soon, going through the whole process, including dyeing naturally. That's awesome. Rain Country said, my boys and I watched the first 2 movies out of curiosity to see how they represented forks. Forks? How they represented forks?
I don't know.
The best part for us was making fun of them all the way through.
Yeah.
Carmelina Balkin said, what? You are loud? I hear you giggling. No, wait. It's the voices in my head. Dustin Dean said, thank you so much for the shout out. You're welcome. Floridian Homesteader said, what's easier to raise, goats or lambs? It depends on what you want to use them for. If you want meat, you want to do, in my opinion, which it's only that, is you want lambs. Because lambs, you get I don't know. They're just easy. You can do bum lambs. You have wool if you want to spin it later, if you raise them to be a little bit bigger. With goats, if you raise a dairy goat, you're going to have all bone. If you raise, oh, what are they called? What are they called? Boars. If you raise boar goats, it's like the Angus of goats. They're a big, heavy meat breed goat. But for me, I can raise a good meat lamb in 3 months. I don't need to wait till they're 6 months to have them be at butcher weight. It's really fast. And so for me, time, the amount of meat, what I get out of them, I raise the mom and shear her. We had a Suffolk and she had nice long wool. So we'd shear her, we'd have her wool, and then we'd breed her for $10 to the ram down the road. And then her lambs would be born, we'd raise them to 3 months, and then we'd butcher them. And that worked really well for us. So I like goats for dairy and I like sheep for meat. I don't like to cross that. And I do like a wool breed because I do spin. A lot of people like the Hare breed sheep because then they shed their wool, and you don't have to shear them. Little Footprints, Big Dream said, how far are you all willing to go if someone gets the money up? As long as somebody else is paying for the flight to get out there, so that I'm not, and there's housing there, so that I'm not again spending a couple $100 on hotels. I think it would be a great experience just to learn how to make it effective and to have fun meeting people. So I think I'd go anywhere in the U.S.
Or Canada if you get your passport.
Yeah, I'd have to get my passport, and that it takes time to get a passport. So I'd go pretty much anywhere. Flying VS Farm said, does Forks have a huge tourist season because of Twilight?
Forks, Washington.
Michael Gross said, don't be getting any speeding tickets. Oh, driving so fast. I know. We will probably go the speed limit, most likely.
No comment. They call this evidence.
And Jennifer Filia said, parasites are a nightmare in goats in the South. Yes, and in sheep too in the South, or anywhere that it's really warm. For us back home, we didn't have a big problem with parasites. We had dry. So we did one year have problems with hoof rot, and it was a really wet spring, and we'd never had it happen before, but we had one little lamb that ended up having swollen feet, and I did have to medicate it and give it the shots and everything to help it because it was having a hard time walking. It got so bad. Jonathan.
Sorry, they're back to the Twilight thing.
Control yourself.
So
but yeah, most animals have a parasite problem in the South because you don't have the hard freeze that gets rid of them like we do back home. So we had our animals all on natural wormers and never had a problem with worms. What?
Still talking about Forks, Washington and the Twilight series.
5yes Farm Center, is it just the odd screaming teenager once in a while? Oh my goodness. You guys are so full
she's
of
got
it.
some zingers like that because she's asking Heidi. Well, Heidi says about Forks, Washington, the supposed home of sparkly vampires. And Rebecca says, supposed, isn't Mr. Rain proof that they existed?
Sue Knowles said, what's a bum lamb? So a bum lamb is a lamb that's rejected by its mother or that the mother dies at birth. And so a bum lamb is one that you can take and raise on a bottle. We liked to attach them to a goat, and we would just stick the goat in the stanchion, let the babies nurse. And then by the 3rd day after they had been nursing in the stanchion, we could release them, and the goat would think the baby was hers because it smelled like her at that point. And so that's what we did. We would graft a lamb onto a goat. Flirting Homesteader said, any links or resources you would recommend for people new to raising sheep for parasite and disease remedies? Not really. If you want, because the ones I know of that are really good are in the northern Idaho. Dan is the grass-fed homestead. He's amazing with sheep, but again, he doesn't have the parasite problems that anybody in the South would have. Moisture, a lot of moisture in the grass, soil that never really freezes, you are going to have parasite problems. So it's just kind of different. You have the trade-off between the North and the South as far as, and dry and wet on which kind of animal you want to raise. And it matters. It matters which breed you have. It matters who you got it from. It matters what you feed them, what their pasture's like. And so mostly you just kind of have to go out and find your expert that is in the situation that you're in. And YouTube is really good at that. I don't think there's a lot of really big experts on sheep out there, though. Dan from the Grass-Fed Homestead would definitely be the biggest expert I can think of out there. But Dutch from
Keeping it Dutch?
Keeping it Dutch. Keeping it Dutch. He does have sheep, and he has Hare sheep here in Oklahoma. So he would be a good source. And he is on YouTube. Keeping it Dutch. I would highly recommend getting a hold of him. Bye, Daniel. Do you ever get on Homesteading today? What does that mean?
Sounds like a magazine.
Oh, I don't know.
Apparently we don't keep up enough with it. So no, the answer is no.
Cynthia Lee Wells said it wasn't all in Washington. There was a lot of, oh my goodness, we're talking about Twilight still. Okay, I'm going to go eat some frozen fruit. And y'all can just keep talking about Twilight. The Have More Farm said it's a forum. Oh, I'll have to go look into that. What is it called again? Homesteading Today. I'll actually type it in right now. Homesteading Today. Probably. Homesteading Today. Let's go look at it.
Okay, let's see. Rebecca.
That looks awesome.
Forks is where the books are based, though.
Okay, I'm going to go eat something. I love you all. Are you going to stay on?
No, go ahead. So, wait, passion for woodworking. While my channel is about woodworking, I've been living in North Idaho with my family this spring and summer. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to meet up with you in the future. Yeah, hopefully June. June will be up there.
Sometime June.
We just got to figure out when. Well,
thank you, Susan. Yeah, it's Keeping It Dutch. Okay, we will talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.